today, in English 9, we're going to have a lesson in judging the validity of the evidence listened to. This lesson will have two parts. Part 1 is a short introduction which will discuss about active and passive listening. Part 2 is about checking the validity and reliability of information. We're going to have the first part. In judging the validity of the evidence listened to, we have to first identify the types of listening and check the validity of the information. Previous lesson, we had discussed viewing. This time, we're going to have listening. What is then listening? Listening is one of the important skills that should be developed. It requires critical thinking because you cannot just listen to someone's speech without understanding and assessing the truth, relevance, and authenticity of the information presented to. Messages are commonly misunderstood if people lack the skill to listen effectively. There are two types of listening, the active and the passive. Active listening. This is where the listener is fully engaged and reacts to the ideas presented by the speaker. This is usually through nonverbal cues such as nodding, smiling, facial expressions in response to the ideas of the speaker, making eye contact, and etc. For example, as seen on the picture, they listen attentively to the speaker and react to the situation. The listener responds, interacts, and makes an eye contact to the speaker. Another type of listening, passive. Passive listening. This is where the listener does not react to the ideas of the speaker, but merely listens and makes no attempt to interrupt the speaker. For example, as you can see, there is less opportunity to form a two-way communication. The listener does not make any eye contact and has less room for asking questions and clarifications. Another example. Listening to a radio. This time, let's check how well you understand the two types of listening. Each item will show you a situation wherein you are going to identify if it pertains to active or passive listening. Number 1. Your little siblings are playing outside while you are in your room. And the answer is passive. Number 2. Your loved one has a serious topic to discuss with you. And the answer is active. Number 3. have heard the homily while passing by the church to the market? The answer is passive. Number 4. Talking to your parents regarding the problems you encountered in school. And the answer is active. Number 5. Listening to a friend's story of achievements in life. And the answer is active.
Great job, students!
I can see it that you are now ready for the part 2 of our lesson. Checking the validity of information. Currently, information travels at incredible speed across various media or platforms. Yet, we must always evaluate or judge the information that we receive. Listening, we should check if the information is something to believe or not. As a listener, it is not enough to just accept all the information presented to us. We have to be responsible in checking the information if it's valid or not by using our critical thinking skill. So, in this lesson, we're going to identify some pointers on how we can check the validity of the information presented or listened to. Let's try to check this conversation between John and Joseph.
According to Department of Health or DOH in a press briefing yesterday, 5 regions remain under low risk classification for COVID-19, while the rest of the country is now at minimal risk. I disagree with that. I just saw my friends shared posts on social media showing pictures of thousands of people suspected to have COVID-19 virus coming from different regions.
Which of the 2 statements do you think is valid? What are the specific factors that help you identify the valid or reliable statements? Well, look at John's statement. He mentioned where he got the information. This source helps us identify the information if it is valid or not. The author of the source. Who is the author of the source? What are his or her credentials? Is he or she a recognized expert in the field? Are they representing an organization? If so, what is the organization's missions and goals? Sources of information. Does the author provide another reliable source to support his or her claim? If found on the internet, is the domain interface trustworthy? How did the source get its information? If the source includes references, look at a few of the references. And many more. References. Does the author provide citation from which his or her claims were taken? Look at this example. From this article, this is the author of the source. And here's the reference. When we determine the source as good, we say that it has validity. Likewise, counter-checking the background of the author and source on the internet would greatly help establish the validity of a certain material. Let's read this article. Can you identify the sources or parts which make this statement valid or reliable? Let's try. The Department of Health (DOH) reported Monday that dengue cases reached 64,797 nationwide from January to June 25, which is 90% higher than cases recorded in the same period last year. Full report about this can be read at https://newsinfo.inquirer.net. Great! Let's try another one. The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO, said a 29-year-old farmer in Quezon won the Ultra Lotto 658 jackpot in May. Great! Outgoing Education Secretary Leonor Magtulis Briones noted that sports development is one of the critical components of great civilizations during her message at the National Academy of Sports, or NAS, final inspection of facilities at Athletic Stadium on June 14 in New Clark City. Full details can be read at their website www.deped.gov.ph. Good job, students! Over 600 farmers and fisher folk in Bulacan received 35.9 million worth of aid from the Department of Agriculture, or DA, Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, and Bulacan Provincial Government. It is reported at the Manila Times news article today. Good job, students! Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere, in a media briefing on Tuesday, said 60 of the new cases of the COVID-19 Omicron subvariants were of the BA.5 subvariant, 17 were BA.2.12.1, and 2 were BA.4. Full report can be read at https://newsinfo.inquirer.net. Excellent! Now, let's test your understanding of the lesson. You may now get the activity sheets provided to you and answer activity A and B. You may also refer at the key to correction at the back of your activity sheet to check your answer. And now for your assignment, do activity C on page 2 of your activity sheet. Great! I am sure that you can now all judge the validity and reliability of the information presented or listened to. Always remember that an information without a reliable source is not valid. Thank you for staying with me. See you on our next lesson.
Glad that you stayed to learn with me. Thank you and see you on our next video.